in black and white. There's nothing gray about the issues in Detroit or in Michigan or around the country. Talking about racism we face every day. Black people think about race every day because people remind us that we're black, and they put up welcome. This is Adolph Mungo, Detroit in black and white, 9:10 a.m. Superstation, 313-778-7600. Joining me, as usual, is my co-host Brenda Hill.
Hey.
I every Saturday I always say you start fires.
Oh.
So it's so appropriate that we're going to be talking about the fire situation in Detroit. But you know what? One thing I like about doing live radio, Brenda, is that, you know what? We in the gold standard. It's like doing a live remote. Our studio is getting renovated, and so here we are. So let's take it away. Today we're gonna talk about a policy that our mayor, Mike Duggan.
Not my mayor.
Well, you live in Detroit. He's your mayor.
No, he is.
You might have not voted for him, but he's your mayor. Anyway, they got a policy where they have told firefighters that, you know what, there's no reason to hurry for certain calls. So you can take your time, stop at lights if you're driving a fire truck. You can get a call, say a body's on fire. You take your time, and when you get there, you get there. I got Mike Nevin.
Yes, sir.
The president of the firefighter union. Y'all endorsed Mike Duggan for mayor.
We did.
The re-election.
Sure did.
Why did he turn on you?
Have no idea. His commitment to public safety, to police and fire and EMS seemed to be true and valid, and now we're having some challenges.
Why don't you talk about this new policy that they have already implemented? Not trying, they have.
Well, they have. They went around the Joint Health and Safety Committee. They circumvented the collective bargaining unit, and they made a policy change that is mentally unbalanced, and it's going to cost people their property and lives, and that includes the firefighters and the residents. It's a policy that was puked into the field August 1st of 2018, and it's a response policy. And the policy now, they've invented a policy of emergent and non-emergent runs based on a firefighter's thesis that he wrote, filled with what-ifs and maybes, and another shiny object that this commissioner's decided to implement without really taking a look at it or discussing it with the professionals. I got 32 years on this job. I'm second generation. My board's got over 100 years experience, and we've been elected by the membership of all divisions of fire and EMS to make sure things are right. Now, today's conversation isn't going to be about pension, wage, and how we're getting screwed. And everyone knows
it's about safety, public safety.
This is a human issue, and we've got some good people that'll be calling in today. One of them will be the president of the International Association of Firefighters from Washington, D.C., Harold Shapeberger. He'll be calling in. We'll have ex-Deputy Commissioner Greg Love, ex-EMS Assistant Chief Joe Wilson, along with other callers. It's going to be should be pretty good. Now, we figured out what's going on with this, and I've had meetings with the mayor and Eric Jones, and I've asked them to suspend this. And the mayor has said in the press this is a sound policy, and he's standing behind his commissioner and some of the people that the commissioner has chosen to be on his staff, none of which have any fire experience in the city of Detroit.
How can, you know what, I call it, as a resident, I call 911 and say I have an emergency, a fire emergency, or have a heart attack or whatever. How do you know if this is serious or not? Who makes that call?
Well, what happens is 911, you dial 911 when you have an emergency. The public has a human right to call 911 when they feel they are in a situation that's unmanageable for them, whether it be a cat in a tree, a kid stuck on a swing set, a cardiac arrest, a medical condition, a fire, a high-rise fire, smell smoke. You've got that human right to call for fire, police, and EMS. And it's a human element that responds fast, and we put eyes on the situation. Then we determine from that point what we need and how many people we need. Now, we've done this for 160 years in the city. We've got commercial box alarms, stills. We know how to respond. But now we've got this genius who's decided to, before the runs are dispatched to the men and women that are doing the job, they're going to second-guess the SunGuard system that's set up. There's a system set up at central office that prioritizes the runs.
Okay.
Smoke in a house. Well, that you go.
Right.
Man down. You go.
Right.
Well, body on fire.
Body on fire, which they called in bushes. A lot of times people call
bushes.
Smoke. They said it was, well, they couldn't tell, but a lot of times civilians are driving by,
yes,
and they'll say there's smoke in the area. Well, they're not going to stop and start investigating.
Right.
They call 911. I'm on Gratiot, and I'm near Nodell, and there's smoke in the area. Send the fire department. It's our job to investigate. And we're going to get into a fire at Mrs. Bailey's house in a little bit, what happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget that. What do we tell people when we go to schools? First thing we say is, do you have smoke detectors?
Yeah.
We have smoke detector handouts and whatnot. Give them away at the firehouse. We say change your batteries every 6 months. All your new construction has hardwired smoke detectors, CO2 detectors, sprinkler systems. Their function is to alert.
Are y'all sending firemen out to different businesses and
okay.
Oh
yeah.
So what you're saying is somebody who's not on site determines whether this is a priority number one priority, whether they know that it's somebody's child burning in a building, the house is on fire from the basement, therefore there's just smoke above, whether there's a person that maybe can be saved. Not just that, the safety of the people who are driving in the area. If you miss the lights, you won't know they're coming barreling through and stuff.
We've had people self-extricate themselves out of cars waiting for the fire that are crawling out of crashed vehicles. We had the police call in the other day. There was the Detroit Police Department witnessed an accident.
Let me ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Duggins and Eric Jones that said they're geniuses, and they say that our lives are worth nothing, and they get to determine what is a priority
who gets saved or not.
Oh my gosh!
The bottom line, didn't the commissioner say 10 seconds, 20 seconds,
and what happened to that?
It doesn't matter.
The commissioner said on TV during a media report, 40 to 60 seconds doesn't matter in an emergency. And I have bet one of my small little paychecks, I'd like to see him hold his breath for 60 seconds, and I'll hand him that check. If you can, I hope he's practicing. Hold your breath for 60 seconds, and I'll give you my paycheck.
But you know what? You can lose lots of blood in 60 seconds, where that would have made a difference. In fact, every day
fire doubles in size.
Doubles in size, yes.
Listen,
absolutely.
You know what? People get trapped. You don't know if you got babies trapped in a room. A lot of people in Detroit that rent these houses, that's renting these fire traps, don't have fire detectors, smoke detectors rather, in their house. Well, some of them don't have water.
And what about the carbon monoxide poisoning? 30 seconds is the difference between life and death.
When he started this program, it was emergent and non-emergent, which are difficult words to pronounce, and it gets cut up on the radio, and it sounded so bad. And I called the commissioner. I was on my way in the morning. I listen to radio all the time. I says, Commissioner, listen to the radio. These guys can't pronounce it.
You've had lots of conversations trying to talk them out of this madness.
I begged him. I pleaded with him. Put it away. I won't say another word about it. I won't spike the ball.
So what he's saying is let them eat cake.
Well,
and
no, let
burn
them
up.
die off.
That's
how we
no
got.
question.
This is a new way to
What
gentrify.
What about the medical emergencies?
Absolutely.
And what about the children that are calling and that are told in school?
Don't we realize when they talk about people having stroke that the medical experts say, you know what? You have to get there. If they get you to an emergency room in a certain amount of time, you might not be paralyzed.
A stroke,
you might not be brain dead.
It's happened in my own family with my brother-in-law who suffered a brain aneurysm, and if it wasn't for the fire department getting there, we've had numerous firefighters, that our firefighters have responded to. We have family in this city.
Doesn't Eric Jones make about $200,000 now?
I'm not going to get into
close, but I'm saying he came up with this, right?
Well, this is what. Well, actually, no. It was a 15-year firefighter who wrote a paper for a class, and then he took it to two people that have never and then they looked at it. That sounds like
that's not true.
Mike,
no, that's true. No, that is true.
Mike, don't tell me that. You know what? We got some folks on the line that want to talk. Let's go to Rick in Detroit. Rick, you have a question or comment. Good morning.
Morning, Rick.
Good morning. Familiar with your position, and my only question now is there any program been authorized to collect any of the claims from impacted residents tied to this? We need that, and I'll tell you why. Because I understand, and it will come out, and I have to ask the question, is this why the association was forced to endorse Schuette for governor?
Oh, that's got nothing to do with the Schuette thing.
We talking about the new policy in Detroit.
Right. I just wanted to add that because if any group feels as though their suggestions inside a municipality are falling on deaf ears, is where we see the science of politics brought into play.
I actually see what you're saying now. That's a very good question. You're right, because, and I've explained.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
Go ahead. Let him answer.
Rick, that's a very. I understand your question now. It's very wise. And I've explained this to our membership that the landscape of politics has changed, and you got Lansing with their fingers in the cookie jar here in Detroit. And our association understands that we have to reach across both aisles and work with the people that are concerned with public safety.
Right.
And it's just not so much the just throw the lever one way anymore. And this association is taking the stance that those that stand up for us, and that's public safety, police, fire, and EMS, we're going to support them. And we're very, very careful about who we select. The firefighters and the police, Mark Diaz and myself, and our boards have been to Lansing probably 5 times this month. And we are putting together our own public safety coalition to have some initiatives almost be mandated through Lansing to local municipalities, because there isn't a city, a state, or a township that's going to survive without public safety and having it done the right way. Far too long, the workers in the field, the boots on the ground, have been subjected to poor administrations that have not only bankrupted these public safety departments, but they've mismanaged them into the ground. And what we're doing now is we're reaching around the local governments, and we're getting with some of these state people that have vowed to back us in protecting the people.
But like who? Who up in the state?
There are people at the state level that we are looking to back, and we have Sylvia Santana, we got Joe Tate, Stephanie Chang, Leslie Love, LaTanya Garrett, Brenda Jones from City Council has been fantastic. She's been at our meetings. Janae Ayers, Roy McAllister has been awesome, an ex-cop. And we did back Schuette, and Schuette has vowed to take a look at, he's done a little more. I'm going to just say it like it is. He's going to take a look at the bankruptcy as a whole. And what we've asked him is, with Duggan, with all this surplus money that he's bragging about and all his giveaways, we need a governor, and we need people in Lansing to take a look at what's going on here in the city with this surplus money before it goes upside down again.
Before you go, guess who's calling in?
Okay.
The Attorney General himself, Bill Schuette.
Very good.
Good morning, Mr. Attorney General.
Hey, good morning. It's hello, Mike Nevin, my dear friend.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the endorsement of the Detroit Firefighters Association. That's a big deal for me. And Adolph, I'm here with a great friend of yours. This is Reverend Jim Holly and I are together, campaigning together. So this is the Jim and Bill. This is the Holly and Schuette show this morning.
Awesome.
And good morning, do.
I have a question for you, Mr. Attorney General. If you elected governor, are you going to be invisible like in Detroit like the governor we have now?
So listen, I'm a forward-thinking guy, and the question. So the short answer is yes, and that's why I'm here today, and that's why I've spent lots of time in Detroit. I'm probably the first Republican in a long, long time that has spent this much time in Detroit, and you know why? Because the values I have of making sure people have jobs, safe streets, and better schools, that resonates, and that applies to whether you live in Detroit or in the Upper Peninsula. And so you'll see me a lot, and I'll be a governor who listens and works with people like Jim Holley and citizens and residents.
Because you know what, the citizens of Detroit, schools are filled with lead.
Yes.
You know what? The homicide rate is out of control, and now.
Well, not according to. Wait a minute. Not according to the numbers that are.
I don't care what the numbers say.
Oh, the data.
You know what? I don't care about
Right.
the data. We got people. We got these criminals. Their MO now, Mr. Shooty, is to kill somebody and set them on fire.
Yes.
And we have elected officials saying, well, there's no priority in getting to these folks. How are we going to have are you going to have a partnership with the city of Detroit?
I'm going to have a strong partnership with the city of Detroit. Yes, indeed. I'm on speakerphone with Reverend Holley. Just got off his TV show. And the fact is, yes, there's going to be a strong partnership. I'm going to work with pastors. I'm going to work with the mayor. I'm going to work with the council. And most of all, I'll be working for citizens of Detroit. And Chief James Craig is a great friend of mine and does such a solid job as chief of police. And let me have Reverend Holley say a few words.
Well, can I ask you a question before Reverend Holley gets on? Because I'm a community activist. My name is Brenda Hill, and
Hey, Brenda.
hi. The things that higher ups in government think are priorities to the city of Detroit are not what the people on the ground thinks are high priorities. And every week, day in and day out, we're talking about quality of life issues such as the lead in the water, such as the water shutoffs, such as displaced housing. And we talk about this all the time, but we get the mayor and the chief who don't speak on that. So to get a governor that will come into this city and speak on the quality of life issues such as what the fire and the first responders have to deal with, and also, if the first responders use this policy to get in, what is the fallout, the psychological fallout, when they know, if they could have gotten there 3 minutes early and then find a dead body in a house or a baby dead? And how do they continue to go on? These are the things we need to talk about.
That's what we're doing, man.
And I haven't been able to reach out
Go
ahead.
Thanks, Mike. And I appreciate this opportunity to listen. And I found that as Attorney General, and I'll apply this as governor as well, the more I listen, the more I can learn, and I can do a better job serving people in Michigan. And, I, as Bill Shooty, running for governor, I'm delighted to have received the support of the Detroit Firefighters Association and the Detroit Police Officers Association. And, I understand the importance of first responders and safety in our streets. And, I'm here listening to you, and I'll make me a better governor. And that's I'll continue to do in the months and years ahead. So Jim Holley and I just wanted to call and say hi.
Oh, that's good. We're gonna have to take, and thank you for taking time out and coming on the show. I hope to have you back again. We're gonna have to take a break. This is 9:10 a.m.
I absolutely hope to speak with you.
Station.
Good morning, Detroit.
Good morning. Go ahead.
We interviewed both candidates, obviously, and
hold that.
We're gonna take it away with a run recently. This is a female threatening suicide on the freeway.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like the public to hear this. This was no lights, no sirens under the new policy. Here we go.
Code 2 Special Engine 53, letter 25G4. Code 2 Special 14566. Northbound Southfield Service Drive between between Linden and Monier. Report as one threatening to jump from the freeway.
Chief 4 responding from EMS supply.
Chief 4, you may go on service from EMS supply. Chief 2, you'll be due on the special code 2 14566 outfield. Chief 2.
So
code 2, no lights, no sirens.
We'll be back. We'll be back after this break.
Oh my God.
Oh
my God.
With almost 700,000 residents depending on clean water, we deliver.
We do it every day. We're the Detroit Water and Sewage Department working for you.
We like helping people. We like solving problems.
We're making a difference because this is our city.
If you have a water question, call us at 313-267-8000.
Enjoy the clean water our employees deliver to you every day.
It's what we do.
DWS delivered.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Since 2014, Addiction Hope and Helpline has answered calls for recovery and treatment 24/7, 365 days a year. If you're depressed, drinking, using drugs, or taking pills, call now and talk to someone who cares.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Most insurance covers substance abuse. You can get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call 800-379-4799, 800-379-4799.
.910 AM Superstation is the voice of Detroit. We've assembled an unmatched roster of talent, topics, and opinions designed to reflect the heartbeat of the city. We've got it all: the news, the sports, politics, relationships, activists, and everything in between. We are 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit.
Welcome back. This is Adolph Mungo, Detroit in black and white. There's nothing gray about the issues that we discussed. 910 AM Superstation, 313-778-7600. I'm Adolph Mungo. Brenda.
Yep. Adolph, I think everybody who's listening and those who want to call in want to call their family and friends and hear this stuff. This means at the highest offices in this city, the mayor's office and the fire chief's office, they have thrown their backs on us.
Nah, they have thrown us under the bus.
You see?
And just before we went to break, Mike Nevin, the president of Detroit Firefighters, played a 911 call where a freeway, and they said it was code 2, right?
This is the new code 2 system. No lights,
that means
no sirens.
What? Take your time.
So as I said before City Council last week, we might as well take the lights off the rig and put good humor bells on the thing and take our time. You know, I'm going to.
What about the driver?
You got a couple more?
We've got over 200 of them, but I got some special ones. I got some special ones teed up today. and here's something that really bothers me. Saturday, May 6, 2017. In the Metro section of the Detroit News, there was an article, Detroit Cops May Get Tasers. In this article, Eric Jones, the commissioner, is quoted in here talking about bulletproof vests, which we don't have yet, by the way, because they screwed that order up.
Yeah.
But what Commissioner Jones said is Fire Commissioner Eric Jones said he has secured funding to outfit his employees with the body armor, which he said is sorely needed to protect them, especially given the recent state of police officers shot in the city. We just had an EMT shot and wounded on Monday in Dallas, he said. The way things are going here in Detroit lately, I'm surprised no fire department employees have been shot. But it's the law of averages. My guys need to be safe out there. So now you're telling us to go no lights and sirens, Take your time. 40 to 60 seconds don't matter. And we've got civilians dragging their grandmothers, their neighbors to civilian vehicles, wondering why the F we're not there.
That's right.
Because let me tell you something. The last thing someone's going to want to hear when you're upside down in a car or on the 12th floor or you're taking that last breath is you hear those sirens coming. And we've told the public we're on our way. Through the bankruptcy, through the ups and downs of the budgets and the department, the Detroit firefighters and EMS are on the way. And if it's that little sense of, you know what, I hear them sirens, they're on their way as you take your last breath, you know we're coming.
Plus,
now we're not coming.
Plus, if somebody's in your house,
of course,
and you calling and you say somebody's trying to break in, they'll set my house on fire, and
I've got that call too.
And they hear a siren, they gonna run.
Well, check this out. I'll play this one.
Play
next.
this one.
Engine 40. We had a woman on the phone. I'm shot in the chest right now. They're shooting me. They're burning my house and burning me on fire. She called in 911. Code 2.
Oh, so
now, I'll tell you something.
Time.
Everybody knows that, let's be honest. Okay, we live in the city, and what we tell our families is this. Hey, if there's something going on, look. But, you know, they've got their representation, and they need to get a little more vocal, too, about how many police officers are out there. They need more, okay? We need more. Look, we cover 139 square miles.
But I remember back in the day when there was only one car patrolling all of Southwest Detroit.
Unbelievable.
At one time. You know what? It seemed that Mike Duggan and Chief Craig do not care, and Eric Jones do not care what happens to the people that's on the front line. That means the firemen, the police officers, and the residents that got to live in some of these neighborhoods.
And the fire department has to be EMS techs now. And they don't get paid extra, right?
Well, we did get a little 4% bonus to be MFR. I know, it's great. Even though they started off with a 10% cut.
Yes.
But, you know, I don't even want to talk about the money because the mayor had talked about money, and I said to the mayor, we don't want the money. We need the rigs and the personnel and the equipment. Take your money. What hurts a firefighter and an EMS tech more than anything is the mental strain of not being able to do our job.
Yes.
You talk about PTSD. Right now, my members are absolutely furious. That includes central office, who has to. They're allowing central office.
I'm just thinking about the little 5-year-old that got killed.
Yes. Shot.
Couple weeks ago.
With her mother. In the
so was that a code too?
I'd have to look that up, but I do have some police records. Central office chief sent a letter to the dispatchers Monday, September 24th, saying, hey, she's trying to shake her members down. There were 44 structure fires last week. Let's think about that for a second. 44 structure fires in 1 week. That's that's ridiculous. And like I said before, City Council, we've gone from Armageddon to insane numbers. Okay, so we're better now. We're insane. She said only 44 of the 9 were dispatched in under 30 seconds. I will be speaking to the dispatchers concerning dispatching.
But we just got into towing.
Well, that's...
We can't fix the one problem.
I'm going to just... Today we're going to fix the 911 thing because our guys were...
But they just bought 6 towing trucks. Play some calls. And that money could have gone...
I want to say one thing, and I want to set this up so everyone listening... We've got one of the biggest, longest waterways in the United States of America. International, an old fireboat, the rickety old Curtis Randolph, and we're getting a little speedboat, so that'll be good. We've got 139 square miles to protect with 27 engines.
How many firehouses
13
have the
trucks,
city closed?
24 medics, 4 are part-time. You could put Boston, San Francisco, and Manhattan inside the city of Detroit, and they've got departments double the size because it seems that their people care about their people.
Well, we're getting Dan Gilbert building this great big skyscraper.
Don't even start me on training.
Tell me, are y'all prepared to
no,
fight
we're not.
high-rise fires?
No, we're not. No, we wing it, but we're going to do a good job. We've got the international, and the president will be calling in, offering millions of dollars in free training from Washington,
How many
D.C.
rigs do you have downtown?
This is the only city in America with 1 fire engine downtown behind the Fox, 1 driver, 3 guys. That's it. A fire engine, not a ladder, an engine.
Everybody in this city should be outrage. This means your life does not matter, and if you don't care about your life, what about
it seems like the mayor. It seems like the mayor. The only thing he care about in firehouses is they turn into bed and breakfast,
right,
hotels,
yes,
and
absolutely,
restaurants.
that's right.
Well,
that's right.
You know,
with no Detroit workers on those sites.
I was speaking with some of city council, and they're like, how quick could someone even respond to the city-county building with all the changes?
Right.
And all? I said, well, let's look at all the firehouses downtown that have turned into restaurants and cafes, and they've sold off. They've parceled off. These firehouses were put strategically in the neighborhoods and around the city because our job is to respond fast.
What's going to happen? You got a lot of senior citizens that do business at the Wayne County building, at the Coleman Young Municipal building. Emergency. What's going to happen?
Well, I tell you what, I can play one. I could play a run on 5555 Trumbull, a high-rise full of seniors. And I'll play it right now. Let's listen to this one. A high-rise full of seniors.
Engine 17, ladder 20. Code 2, still alarm, 5500 Trumbull.
Hang on.
Go.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
5500 Trumbull between 94. It's going to be at eastbound 94. Requesting for a fire alarm.
Fire alarm in a senior complex.
20. Code 2, still alarm, 5500 Trumbull. Are you en route?
That should automatically be a commercial box alarm to a fully occupied senior complex, high-rise, automatically. Get people there quick, because we may need to go second alarm just to get people off that floor. Let's just say it's one floor and it's a careless cook, and you've got elderly people that have breathing problems. And can't walk. We need to get people there to get them out of there and to move them to another floor. This is the most ridiculous situation in my 32 years. I'm getting calls from all over the country because what happened is the commissioner, God bless him, and he's done a lot of good things, and I actually like him. This is not personal. I begged him to stop this because what he's done is he took a paper written by a firefighter, a thesis, took it to a couple of bozos in his cabinet.
Wow.
One guy who worked at Applebee's 5 years ago.
Unbelievable.
And what they've done is they've misapplied information that was out there. So these guys took this information. They're implementing an EMS system into fire response. And here's another thing we found out. When we took over EMS, do you guys remember how bad our run service was for EMS?
Yeah.
Horrible. You know, our 12, 50. Right, just like the song says. Here's what we found out when the DFFA took over the EMS division. We know now why the numbers were bad, because of miscoding, not enough rigs. Mm-hmm. But when fire took over, fire's doing 4,000 fire incidents a month, 2,100 MFR, medical first responder runs a month. EMS, 20 rigs, is doing 12,100 runs a month. Near 7,000 runs, near 80,000 vehicles on the street. I got a commissioner saying that our people are driving reckless and we're wrecking rigs. We're not even on the list of accidents.
Oh, wow. And then, you know, just to say, people are having heart attacks, they're having asthma attacks, they're having anything, breathing problems. 30 seconds to a minute is the difference between life and death.
Correct.
And nobody on the spot. But like you said, Dan Gilbert has this city going up instead of out. And if you can't get first floor units, how are you going to get up to a 20-something floor unit? They said evidence is being lost because, and our crime rate went up when 911 was really a joke, and it's still bad, but they know nobody's coming.
Well, I certainly hope that all these billionaire tax breaks haven't affected public safety.
I'm glad you said that, Mike. You know, because the problem is Dan Gilbert doesn't believe in the police. He got his own police force, got his own
ambulance
security camera, his own ambulance service.
Yes.
In a minute, he's going to have his own fire department. And this is what we're dealing with.
Well,
are they trying to privatize it?
It'll be a few with the haves and the rest of us with the have-nots.
The way it looks like that's the wave of the future here. Let's not forget that. Well, I'm not even going to get into that, but I could say a lot more, but I'm going to watch my tongue here. I do want people to know that the number has been changed. It's 313-778-7600. I know that I just was getting a call from the ex-EMS chief, Joe Wilson.
Well, because usually we got to.
We're in the studio.
But anyway.
And by the way, I wore one of my clean shirts today. I was excited
you thought
to
you
be
was gonna be
on TV.
Yeah, well, you know.
I put all that stuff around my eyes like the president. And I look like a raccoon.
But you know what? It used to be. I remember as a kid, and you go to the toy store or whatever, and you see a big fire engine with a fire hat, etc.
Yep.
And being a fireman or a policeman or a doctor or whatever, those was ingrained in your head as a kid. And now we telling folks that there's no future. We about to basically privatize it, turn it over for a profit, just like they do the jail.
I think maybe that's ultimately what they're trying to do. But how many people have to die? How many people have to be maimed? How many people have to be left lifeless for them to do something? The people at the land bank, which nobody says that they're doing a great job, they get paid over $200,000. These are the people on the ground in the community saving lives all the time that are told to ignore life, to ignore people in this community, to ignore, try to save.
Yeah. You know what? We're gonna go to the phones because we got folks that want to talk to you, Mike. What you're saying is that the city has just dropped the ball when it comes to protecting the people.
Well, I also believe it's a manipulation of numbers as well.
There's no question. Let's go to Reggie.
Yeah.
Let's go to Reggie. Hello, Reggie. Good morning.
Brenda, what's
Reggie.
happening, Mike?
My chief, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Hey, you hold your ground, man, because we fought a lot of fires and whatever. But here's the situation. Detroit, as you said, is 139 square miles. The focus should be on the following concerns: risk management, the traffic patterns in Detroit, safety of motorists and pedestrians, the liability, patient care, accountability, property loss. And Mike, I'm surprised you didn't say that Detroit Fire, for ever since we've been in existence, we have the #1 aggressive interior firefighting model. A lot of Detroit citizens have been saved because of our aggressive interior firefighting. Now, that would have a negative impact. It would be impacted negative with this ignorant ass.
Don't curse, Reggie.
Okay,
I know you. I know.
He's right.
I know you getting on him.
Fired up.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. But it's ignorant to sit here and say no lights, no sirens, because as Mike said, it's a means of manipulating the numbers.
Yep.
Now, when you look at the national standard, from when Brenda calls central office and say there's a fire, central office is supposed to contact the first responding companies for that incident within 3 minutes, okay? Once the firehouse gets the run, they got 1 minute, okay? Now, they have a total of 8 minutes for everybody, including the chief, to be on that scene within 8 minutes, water flowing. And I guarantee you that's not happening with what's going on in Detroit.
Not even close,
and this
Chief.
Is a result. I know. This is a result of, number one, you got a carpetbag mayor that's disconnected from the people. He has disconnected the majority of the council from the people. You have a fire commissioner who is a non-resident. He's
a cop,
disconnected.
And he's a cop.
He's a cop, and he told the mayor, when the mayor presented him with the commissioner's position, he told the mayor, hey, I don't know anything about fire. What did Mike Duggan say? And I heard Duggan say this in an interview. Duggan told the man, you don't need to know anything about fire, okay? You just need to manage the fire department.
Wow.
Well, how are you going to manage the fire department and you do not know anything about the fire service?
Well, obviously, Reggie, it's coming to the surface because with this new policy, how many people are going to die because of
it's already happened.
No sirens,
but
you can make traffic stops, and plus, we got another problem, Reggie and Mike. We got all these bike lanes downtown on Jefferson, Cass, and all these other streets.
That was a huge issue with our general membership meetings.
You can't get a truck.
You can get a car through some of those.
What they've done is the bike lanes, traffic, road construction, new projects that block major emergency for rigs. They've taken our center lane away that we used. Take our center lane. And I can't wait to watch how they plow around these things. They got them bolted to the street. Can't wait for the snow plows. That's going to be a joke. I'm going to film it, see if I can sell the footage HBO for a comedy series.
Snow comes. But however, this is how Mike Duggan is running this city. You got Gary Brown over the water, knows nothing about the water department. I don't even know who's over the land bank anymore because they run out of there to get city, civil engineering throughout the city. They got a new guy that's over ecology throughout the city. We got no green space.
Well, and we got our kids. Mike Duggan told a group of parents at a community meeting that he had nothing to do with the schools. So he can't answer a question about lead in the water, but he runs the health department.
Right.
So, this guy
and he directed the city
has turned the city services into a clown.
Into a joke.
Before you go, Mike, before you go on, we got Joe Williams.
Joe Wilson.
Joe Wilson.
Chief Joe Wilson.
Okay, Joe Wilson. I'm sorry.
Hi, Joe.
Chief Wilson.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Welcome.
Chief.
Good, thank you. I'd like to say thank you to the panel, and I definitely want to appreciate Mr. Nevin for pushing this issue forward. I just want us to kind of look at a short punch list of how to move this issue forward on public health and public safety. I think Mr. Nevin made an eloquent argument on public safety. I'm on the EMS side. I've been blessed to retire from the City of Detroit EMS as one of the administrators. And right now, Mr. Mongo, we face a public health issue.
Yes.
Unlike no other with this position on not responding to lights and sirens on the EMS side, because it puts us in the same light as Flint. It's a public health issue. So you got to remember that Detroit is the sickest population in Michigan with the busiest EMS system. Go ahead. It runs over 150,000 runs a year.
We're at 12,000 runs a month, and you know what, Joe? I'm hoping they get them vests quick because this policy, we're going to end up getting our teeth knocked out, shot and stabbed.
But you know what? You got people already mad because they think that 2 minutes is an hour.
Right.
20 minutes is 5 hours.
They think we don't care.
Right.
Our rigs are pulling up on the scene, and they're like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
And they're dragging people to cars, and they've got live cardiac arrest, live medical emergencies. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Keep the focus narrow because we understand how the Duggan administration runs things. They dismiss the argument because of emotion. So we want to keep it evidence-based. And like Mike is doing it, he went out and done the homework. He looks at sister cities, D.C., Philly, Chicago, New Orleans. None of these cities have a non-response lights and siren policy against the public health.
Nope.
The public health and public safety issue is science-based. In the city that needs the most, we don't have units in the districts that can respond appropriately. So you mentioned the dispatch process.
I have a question. I have a question. You got a lot of drivers, senior drivers, that's hard of hearing.
Right.
Yep.
And so you're talking about not having a siren on, not having lights on. That's a disaster waiting to happen.
That's
well,
exactly right.
Let's look at it like this, where Mike is trying to get the issue to really stay focused, is that emergency unit is no longer responding in that way. So they're extending the time to get to the call for service.
Mm-hmm.
So they stopping at lights, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
We're behind the guy that can't see.
Let's give the public and the politicians
while someone's dying.
a better picture of what's going on.
That is unreal.
Joe is a very fine administrator with EMS.
No, let's look at it for what it is. It's only in the population of Detroit. They're not doing it in Troy.
Nope.
They're not doing it in Canton.
Nope.
They're not doing it in Westland.
Well, there it is.
Our mayor and our
80+% black
has allowed this
urban
to be
area.
perpetrated on the citizens of
Racism
Detroit.
rears its ugly head again.
Yeah, they only do it in the urban areas.
Well, as we continue to push loyal residents and business owners further from downtown, I guess we're going to get stuck with this. This is what this administration feels you deserve.
There you go. So that's the narrow focus. That's the way we look at this issue against the public health. So you have the same dynamic where no one's standing up as far as the elected officials, so you get a Flint. You get that heart attack in the college district that comes out through the dispatch system, like Mike is saying, that's miscoded, and now it comes out as a 2. Guess what? That unit's going to have to stop at every light, have to take its time, and we're hoping that the person that's driving that apparatus cares, and he may go a little bit faster, but he has to follow the posted street speed limit.
If I have a loved one that's sick, that might be dying, and you're taking your time, not only there's lawsuits, but you do need some a bulletproof vest, because people are going to be so pissed off, and they want to shoot the messenger.
It's already happening.
Everybody, I go back to the time where we didn't have enough trucks.
Right.
And people were dying because of the lack of trucks. Now you have this oxymoron where you have the government, because of the bankruptcy, allowing Mayor Duggan to add additional resources, and he negates that by taking the response time away. That's criminal.
I think
we're still down about, I would say we're down about 10 EMS units and 5 fire units, and I think if we had that, we'd be pretty good.
Well, the whole bankruptcy was supposed to fix first responders and city services first.
We're supposed to
so
improve.
You should be very
well. You know what? Let's back that up.
But
Hang
that's
on.
What they said,
ribbon cuttings come first.
And you know what else comes? Restaurants that close. It used to be you had a firehouse in the neighborhood.
Well, that's the plan in every other world.
But that's what Kevin Orr and
yes, sir.
And
I mean, you're right.
Yes, Chief.
There hasn't been a capital improvement since Fort Street, since the public safety building on Fort Street.
Yes, sir.
So yeah.
Oh, you mean the Foundation Restaurant?
Mike will tell you that they have EMS apparatus sitting in storage because they don't have places to put them.
Oh, wow.
Because they're, am I right, Mike?
Yes. Yes. They have four part-time rigs that they won't invest in upgrading engine house. They could put at least 4 rigs in service 24/7.
Well, you know what? Right. We going up against a break. Chief Wilson, thanks for calling.
Let me, can I play us out with another, one of our latest hits? This is going to be a Code 2 response to a CPR call. This is a CPR in progress, Code 2. Here we go.
Engine 32, we just received a second request. We're going to send hazmat. It states that
there's possible carbon monoxide in the dwelling. The caller was sick yesterday. Hazmat 1 will also be responding with you, engine 32.
32 has it, okay. 32 on screen.
Engine 32 has the update. Engine 32 is on the scene. Code 2 special, Hazmat 1, 2137 Lakewood.
Civilians down, carbon monoxide. They were sick yesterday because the carbon monoxide was making them sick. Take your time. People down when they get there. No lights, no sirens. Take your time.
That's a tragedy, Mike. It's a public health tragedy.
It sure is.
It's a public health tragedy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you. You know what? We got a ton of people that want to talk. Before we go on break, let's take a couple of calls. We got Theo online.
This one's up.
Theo.
This one.
Yeah, happy Saturday to all of you. Is your guest still there?
Yes.
Okay. I have 4 questions. One, yes or no. Has a fire truck had an accident on Livernois and the Avenue of Fashion yet?
Well, no, we have not. And that's a great statement because they continue to manipulate Livernois to the point where we can't get rigs down the street. As a matter of fact, when they were putting the islands in, they were going to put the island right across the front of the firehouse, and the firemen actually went out there and said, hey, what are you guys doing? We're not going to be able to get our rig in and out of here. And they were like, well, we have to do this. It's designed this way. Never even considered the house on...
Joanne Watson was the only person
But now they're going to tear them out, put bike lanes in.
That raised a ruckus.
Right.
Right. The second question is, has a lawsuit been filed based on the lack of public safety concern?
Well, I got a letter on my desk from a very predominant attorney who's in Florida right now, and I'm not going to say his initials, that said, would you please give me a call when someone dies?
Yeah,
I said,
it's coming.
I said, I don't work for you. This is a legal, litigious nightmare for the city. And they, trust me, and we're going to talk about a fire we had the other night, but they're lining. They're going to line up.
We need to get a lawsuit started, even if it's through the ACLU.
Well, we're going to.
How do I have, and anybody else, have my fire hydrant examined to make sure that the water will come out if the truck arrives?
Well, we had a hydrant plan, but that was shelved as well too, because they don't want you to talk about that. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Just keep looking at the screen.
Right.
It's all hocus pocus and it's all bullshit.
You can't.
Sorry.
Mike.
Okay. Baloney. It's malarkey.
Okay. I know you.
Sorry.
Passionate.
Reggie. I'm just like my chief Reggie Amos.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Last question,
Yes, ma'am.
Adolph, is for you. It's true that Schuette fought against affirmative action. Is that correct?
I don't know. Yeah.
Check that. I'm pretty sure he did.
Okay.
All right.
I don't think
those
Schuette
are all of my questions. Thank you for your
test.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have anything to do with it.
But let me tell you, Mike, when you bring politicians, Republicans, really Republicans, Detroiters have a sour taste in their mouths dealing with the administration up in Lansing. They have a sour taste in their mouths dealing with the Democrats.
Right.
So you know when you endorse Schuette, you pissed off a lot.
No doubt.
You pissed off a lot of folks.
It ruffled some feathers.
And I know that we're talking about an emotional issue.
Yes.
You know, but this is family radio.
Let's remember that.
Keep it
but
clean.
this is life and death. I think that everybody should have something to say.
And let's say it like this: Schuette is the Attorney General. Schuette and Schneider don't get along at all. They are about as opposite can be. Matter of fact, I believe the governor's backing Gretchen Whitmer. And Schuette, during the bankruptcy, and it's on record, said if the participants of the program want to go to the Supreme Court, he'll take the case. And the unions in the city decided to hammer it out on their own. But he stood there and he said, if you want to use the AG's office, I'm here, and that's a fact on the record.
Well, the Republicans think that Governor Snyder is just a Republican in name only, a rhino.
Right.
You know, that he's not a real Republican. who call themselves Democrats
Just
are really
as
not Democrats.
Right.
So, but anyway, let's get back and talk about the fire.
Can I say that?
Go ahead.
In January, I wrote the mayor a letter, an impassioned letter, and we've been working, for the first couple of years.
It's now the end of September now,
right? This is January, right? And I just said these critical components of properly managed fire EMS department can only be achieved by those who have institutional knowledge, trust of the rank and file, and has actual fire service time in historical structure of the DFD. The DFFA concern is that after making sane progress, collaborative efforts on behalf of the public and or public safety worker are slipping backwards due to inexperience, ego, personal agendas, and we are sadly regressing and losing the trust of the members in the field and the public. I got this letter right here. I wrote it to the mayor. We had conference with the mayor. I've been telling him we're slipping backwards.
Did you let me see his response.
His response was he called for a meeting.
Okay.
And we sat down. He said, Mike, what's your problems?
Yeah, right. But if this was Livonia, where he grew up at, he wouldn't be. He would not be making policy of.
Let's just say
code 2, code 3, code 4.
Right.
The mayor's been very receptive to police and he. I'm going to say it. He's called us. I've talked to him. We text back and forth. He owns this now because he has sided with the commissioner.
Right.
So now it's
we got to go to a break. He speaks with a forked tongue. 910 AM Superstation.
Let's
hold tight, Mike.
Can we go out with the Engine 40 shooting?
We're going to come back with the Engine 40 shooting.
All right, very good.
Okay.
All right.
This is Adolph Mungo, 910 AM Superstation. We got the outspoken president of the Detroit Firefighters.
Call your friends.
You know,
you need to hear this.
No question.
After receiving a delinquent property tax bill for the 2 lots connected to my home, I was concerned. I didn't even know that I had a past due bill. I went down to the Wayne County Treasurer's office, and the staff worked with me to keep my property out of foreclosure.
My property taxes became delinquent after I fell behind on my bills. Treasurer Sabri and his staff came to the town to help me. At the meeting, I found out about payment plan options.
Let us help you. Our goal is 0 owner-occupied properties getting foreclosed and going to the auction. Come down to our office at 400 Monroe in downtown Detroit on the 5th floor. Call 313-224-5990 during our normal business hours from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and until 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. Or email textinfo@waynecounty.com for assistance. Take the first step. Contact our office today.
It worked for us.
This is Reverend Sharpton, and on the last Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton.
Oh, I just don't count the votes. They're not there when the vote. They just get
I just answered you before, sir, that I know thousands of people that are in the rooms when the votes come in. Every candidate has people in the room. When I've run, I have people in the room. Everybody running is going to have people in the room when the count comes in. The question is making sure we get the right count. The count does not come from them counting ballots. The count comes through technology. This is not 1890. We're not having people at the courthouse standing in line or the schoolhouse and you see the ballot. The question is making sure you have the right voting companies, that they're not hacked or not in any way eliminated. You could have everybody in the world in the room. They will be in the room getting the wrong numbers. So keep it real daily with me, Al Sharpton.
With almost 700,000 residents depending on clean water, we deliver.
We do it every day. We're the Detroit Water and Sewage Department working for you.
We like helping people. We like solving problems.
We're making a difference because this is our city.
If you have a water question, call us at 313-267-8000.
Enjoy the clean water our employees deliver to you every day.
It's what we do.
DWSD. Clean water. Delivered.
We all love fried food, but the problem is all that excess oil and fat can cause you to become overweight. Well, now there's the Cook Light Aero Fryer, an amazing kitchen miracle that uses air to fry instead of oil, so you can have the same delicious flavor and crispiness of deep frying using little or no oil. Get that deep fried taste and crispiness with up to 70% no oil, guilt-free onion rings, cheesy and delicious mozzarella sticks. Call now and bring the Cook Light Aero Fryer into your home, including the Cook Light Aero Fryer recipe book, the unique patented dual tray, air frying mesh basket and tongs, and stainless steel extender ring. You'll get it all for 5 easy payments of $29.95. Be one of the first 500 callers and get this 13-piece knife set, a $175 value, yours free. Try Cook Light Aero Fryer for 30 days. If you don't love it, send it back, but keep the 13-piece knife set as our gift to you. Order in the next 10 minutes and we'll include free shipping. Call now or go online to air2fry.com. That's air2fry.com.
After receiving a delinquent property tax bill for the 2 lots connected to my home, I was concerned. I didn't even know that I had a past due bill. I went down to the Wayne County Treasurer's office and the staff worked with me to keep my property out of foreclosure.
My property taxes became delinquent after I fell behind on my bills. Treasurer Sabri and his staff came to the town hall in my city and provided information about resources available to help me. At the meeting, I found out about payment plan options.
Let us help you. Our goal is 0 owner-occupied properties getting foreclosed and going to the auction. Come down to our office at 400 Monroe in downtown Detroit on the 5th floor. Call 313-224-5990 during our normal business hours from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and until 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. Or email textinfo@waynecounty.com for assistance. Take the first step. Contact our office today.
It worked for us.
News and programming on 910 AM Superstation are not for sale and will never be for sale. Stay up to date with current events and breaking news on our Facebook page. Search and like 910 AM Superstation on Facebook, and you'll see everything new, everything exciting, and all things Detroit. 910 AM Superstation News on Facebook Live right now. We're the hottest station in town. Whatever you need, it's right here on 910 AM Superstation. The most powerful voices in the urban community.
3, 2, 1.
You're listening to 910 AM Superstation. The future of radio. You're listening to 910 AM Superstation.
The best in the city.
The future of radio. Superstation, a division of Adele Media.
Welcome back. This is Adolph Mungo, 910 AM Superstation. Joining me today, Brenda Hill.
That's me.
I say you usually start the fire and get all these people to call. But
I'm absorbing all of this information.
We got Mike Nevin here, president of Detroit Firefighters Association. He has thrown some Molotov cocktails out here in the city. Talking about the new policy, and if you want to join in on this conversation, 313-778-7600. Call in. Before we went to break, Mike, you were going to play another 911 call.
This is a double homicide. The woman called in. We've got the ticket. I've been shot. They're lighting me and my house on fire. I need help, and here's how we responded.
Engine 40, response to code 2, still alarm at 2310 Monterey. 2310 Monterey between 14th and LaSalle Boulevard is on scene for shooting. Check for fire. 40-0.
Code 2?
Code 2, check for a fire. There was a fire. Our job is fire, not the police, not EMS. And
did she die?
Yes, they're a double homicide.
That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. What? I'm at a loss for words on that one.
Well, I got more.
I'm at a loss for words.
I got a lot more.
I can't believe what I'm hearing, and I've heard a lot going on. Do you know that the Michigan Democratic Black Caucus is having a meeting this morning, supposed to be shaping the black agenda here in Detroit, and they're not listening to this program, which has just shot up to the #1 topic I will be having with Keith Williams and anybody else who will listen. This is another form of gentrification on steroids. You can't let get their children out with poisoning them in schools. You can't get them out with power away from the first responders. I mean, at least the timeline had come down with when first responders could get there, but now they wanted to creep back up. There's been several incidences where people were in fact, I think it was Southwest Detroit this week. A baby the car was hit, and the baby was under the car, and the citizens had to pick up the car to get the baby out from under the car. What if the jaws of life were there, or the EMS or the fire department had gotten there sooner, and they could have lifted that car off the babies? I'm saying to everyone here,
this is what we're dealing with. It's not acceptable.
It's beyond unacceptable.
Listen, we got the president of the International Fighters Union.
Okay.
Harold Schaefer.
Harold Schaefer represents
We got him online.
every professional firefighter in the United States and Canada.
Oh, wow.
And is known throughout this globe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
I'm at a loss for words, Mike. First of all, Mike, I hope all is well with you and all my brothers and sisters there in the Detroit Fire Department. You guys do a hell of a job. And I know your city, as you well know. I know your city very well over many, many years. And also that department and what they did to it over time, and what you and we have been trying to help return it to its a day when it was adequately equipped, adequately staffed, and to be able to respond to a very special city in this nation.
Thank you, sir.
This new policy that the mayor and his fire commissioner has implemented,
Jones, yes.
Is that standard around the country?
I would describe it, since this is a public radio show, as ridiculous.
Oh.
I could have other words and more graphic words to describe it, but listen, I've been at this 47 years. I don't want to talk about myself, but I just want you to know where I'm coming from. I've had the privilege of being a part of the leadership in this union for those 47 years, and all over 2 great countries. And I know the largest cities and the smallest communities. And this is something you would never find, never even consider in other great cities in this nation: New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Houston, Columbus. I mean, the list goes on. Canada, Calgary, Edmonton. This is simply, in my view, a unfortunate, but I think purposeful attempt to simply try to reduce the resources, the stations out in the community, and the number of Detroit firefighters that are there responding day and night on behalf of the community.
And the data as well, right?
This is ridiculous.
The data so that the FBI can say that Detroit's priority #1s are going down, right?
Well, they're trying to misuse data by they can figure a false way to distinguish between what they're going to call Code 1 through emergency calls from Code 2, yes, and they're going to manipulate the data, which says, well, we don't need as many resources in this city. We can live with less stations, less rigs, less firefighters and EMS personnel.
Yep.
But whose
Mike,
life?
I don't like it at all that the mayor and the commissioner are misusing the work that we did to try to help pull that department out of the trenches of disaster
And we
on
were
the
there.
EMS side.
Absolutely, we were there.
They're cutting and pasting an EMS program and saying the International stands behind this, and they said it in front of the mayor. Eric Jones put a paste and cut PowerPoint in front of the mayor and said, "Your own International supports us." I said, "Your information's wrong. It's cut and pasted. It's an EMS." He just took whatever he wanted, and he literally no.
EMS.
That's the problem.
Non-emergency. It was a non-EMS emergency
program
protocol for those that maybe feel ill, but to distinguish between only on the EMS medical side.
And I beg the mayor to please listen. This is not about money, wages, health care. This was about human life. And our firefighters' safety, because now they're sending one engine, one truck to They're going in by themselves, no 2 in, 2 out. I mean, it's just a disaster waiting to happen.
And the community is going to be angry at the first responders.
They already are. I hope they get them vests in here quick.
That's exactly what's going to happen. The community's not going to know that when somebody calls into 911 and somebody is running them through a protocol that says, "Oh, you smell smoke?" Well, how much smoke do you actually smell? Do you actually see smoke, or do you just think there's? If we start down that path, lives are going to be lost, families are going to be destroyed, parts of the city are going to continue to, be destroyed. This is an unacceptable. And Mike, I'm telling you, I'm committed. I'm committed to that local, to you and all of our members.
You have offered
whatever we need to do. I say in the old days, we'll have everything it takes to go into that city and with that mayor, money, marbles, and chalk, whatever it takes to get this stupid, ridiculous protocol and program.
It seemed like they're going to need you like ASAP, because what's happening is we already lost people. People died because of this so-called Code 2 policy. What genius? You get a 911 call and say, "I'm getting shot. I may set my house on fire.
Right.
Please come." And then they said Code 2.
What else could
basically
she say?
Take your time.
I will tell you that the International, under the President Shaper's leadership, has offered the city of Detroit multi-million-dollar grants to have our firefighters trained. I have it right here. They were in the city of Detroit back in March, where they brought a team of trained people. We're going to have cranes go up in the city. We've got bridges, buildings, confined space. The International offered support and grants to backfill fire company to get our first responders, EMS and fire, trained to a certain level, and they walked from it. They don't want to do it.
Well, you only got one engine that serve downtown.
And there's 200 cranes that are, more than 100 feet up.
When the president says that he would come in here with everything from a piece of chalk to the big bag of money, he's not playing. This is a strong leader.
I know of 4 empty firehouses that they have turned into. That doesn't seem like it's a priority.
And then Charlie LeDuff did a piece on firehouses that had all kinds of problems. The sewer backing up with raw sewage. They didn't have this. They didn't have that.
Those are issues
Where's Charlie LeDuff? We need him.
I'm not even concerned about that. But go ahead. Let the president.
This needs to be busted.
This is very simple and straightforward in my view. I've seen other cities make stupid decisions, and it all comes down to dollars. Where do they want to commit their resources? And they're willing to sacrifice a tragedy in a neighborhood or a community, hoping that it really can't be measured in a much larger way, as a way to simply redirect their resources to non-emergency, non-fire capability, which is only one person that suffers from these kind of decisions. And that's the citizens in the neighborhoods, in the communities, and in this case, in the city of Detroit.
Mr. Schaefer,
this has got to be stopped.
Everything has been taken from us, and they said that we were going to get better city services. Number one, and
Mr. President, we've got Mrs. Sandra Bailey, who is on the line holding. She's one of those residents, very nice woman who We went code 2 the other night. I had firefighters at my general membership meetings Tuesday and Wednesday. I had one firefighter in tears, and he said that Mrs. Bailey felt betrayed. And I had a seasoned firefighter who could barely get through his statement to City Council President Brenda Jones, who's at the meeting, and Legislative Representative Garrett was there. And it was just heartbreaking. I mean, my firefighters are crying.
Okay, we're gonna take this call. We got Pulitzer Prize winning journalist.
President, thank you, sir, very much.
And thank you,
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We'll be talking.
Thank you. I will, sir. Thank you, sir, very much.
We got Charlie the Duff on the line.
Oh, I just said where's Charlie?
Hey, Charlie, what's up?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
We're doing
Charlie.
all right, man.
I called for you, and you answered.
Excellent show. Excellent show. This is the key of everything. The public safety, public. If it's not livable,
that's right.
You know, period. Now, look, I'm going to tell you. Here's what I found this week. Nobody picked it up. I don't know why. It's what reporting's supposed to be. Let me go to police for a minute. Over the last 4 years, we've been told, treated, spun about a falling crime rate, violent crimes down. You notice that every year?
Yeah.
Unbelievable drop in numbers. Here's what we found out. In the headlines, we're no longer the most violent city. That's St. Louis. Yet, violent crime went up in Detroit over the year. From the FBI statistics, which they get from the Detroit police. And if you look for the year before that, it went up.
Yes.
If you look from the year before that, it went up.
Yes.
And the year before that, the first full year both Craig and Duggan were here in 14, it went up.
Absolutely.
So you've been lie's a strong word, but let's use it.
Bamboozled.
It's not true.
Right.
Now, what does this mean? Here's what everybody missed. The mayor has asked all departments, including the police and fire and EMS, for 5% cuts to public safety. Cuts. Where is the money? Where's the miracle? Finally, I'll say this. When we talk about development and the billionaires out there with their tin cups, we say things like tax credits and tax abatements. It sounds like, you don't have to pay taxes, or, you can collect the income taxes from your employees.
Well, they got a bridge card. They got a bridge card.
Yeah, it's more than that, though, Adolf, because here's the thing. In these deals, we're also writing them checks for cash money.
Yes.
For instance, the hockey arena, we paid $350 million cash money, to which we borrowed as a region, right? Because we're all connected. So every year we have to write a check for the hockey arena for $12 million. For the skyscraper for the next 35 years, $16 million.
That's right.
Add that up. That's $30 million a year.
That's right.
Now keep the taxes, have a tax break. Nothing was there before. Okay, so you're developing great. But to take precious dollars, and you just spent an hour and a half talking about how precious these dollars are, to take them out from the public to apply them to something else, well, everybody decide. I don't tell you how to think, but those are the facts that you're not told.
What is Doug and them, like my late mother used to ask me, what are you doing with your money? What is Duncan doing with the money?
Well, now you know why we're trying to partner up with legislators in Lansing.
What are they doing with this extra surplus of money?
Our children don't have water in their schools. We have no money.
We need the state and some of these people that are running for office to take a good hard look at the city of Detroit.
But they've been bought and paid for already.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
There's a few.
There's a few that will stand up, but...
Who's standing up? When the rubber meets the road and the vote gets made, I don't see anybody fighting.
There you go.
I don't. When I call down there, nobody's aware of the mathematics.
Locally, no, I agree.
And Charlie, the Illiches, you just said $350 million, which will, after all the interest, will be closer to $1 billion we pay out to them. We get zero money back in entertainment tax or or income tax, and and then
and Ford
they said
said
nothing to our children. Their water is lead tainted. They didn't.
Okay,
Tom
let's keep
Gores
it focused.
said nothing
Madam,
about that.
Go ahead.
100% correct, but let's keep this focused. Watch this.
Hold tight. Hey, Charlie, hold tight.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
We got to take a break.
We got a lot of people.
At 9:10 a.m. Superstation.
I'm going to play another one. This is the
go ahead as we go into the break.
MGM Grand Casino on a Sunday morning, loaded full of people, and we know that casinos are designed to make it difficult.
Just go straight to it.
Difficult to get out of the building. Here we go.
Go straight to it.
1-20, code 2. Still alarm at the MGM. Question for a fire alarm. Engine 1-20, commercial fire alarm. Code 2, respond.
Commercial fire alarm in a building full of people on a Sunday morning.
At the
MGM
casino.
Grand.
Let's go to break. We'll be back with Charlie LaDuff, Mike Nevin, Brenda Hill.
I'm here.
This is Adolph Mungo, Detroit in black and white. We're talking about the disaster of the new policy that Mike Duggan and his
With almost 700,000 residents depending on clean water, we deliver.
We do it every day. We're the Detroit Water and Sewage Department working for you.
We like helping people. We like solving problems.
We're making a difference because this is our city.
If you have a water question, call us at 313-267-8000.
Enjoy the clean water our employees deliver to you every day.
It's what we do.
DWSD. Clean water. Delivered.
After receiving a delinquent property tax bill for the 2 lots connected to my home, I was concerned. I didn't even know that I had a past due bill. I went down to the Wayne County Treasurer's office, and the staff worked with me to keep my property out of foreclosure.
My property taxes became delinquent after I fell behind on my bills. Treasurer Sabri and his staff came to the town hall in my city and provided information about resources available to help me. At the meeting, I found out about payment plan options.
Let us help you. Our goal is 0 owner-occupied properties getting foreclosed and going to the auction. Come down to our office at 400 Monroe in downtown Detroit on the 5th floor. Call 313-224-5990 during our normal business hours from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and until 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. Or email textinfo@waynecounty.com for assistance. Take the first step. Contact our office today.
It worked for us.
Hi, I'm Hunter Ellis, and this is Atomic Beam USA. Another bright idea from Bulbhead, the ultra-bright, tough-grade flashlight that features tactical technology used by U.S. Special Forces. This flashlight has a feeble 125 lux output. The Atomic Beam USA has up to 5,000 lux. That's 40 times more. We're going to drop it hundreds of feet from this helicopter. It hits the tarmac, and it's still working. That's what I call a tough flashlight. Heavy downpours, mud puddles, even extreme temperatures are no match. You could spend over $100, or the Atomic Beam USA can be yours for just $19.99 with free lifetime guarantee. Order now, you can double it and get a second Atomic Beam USA. Just pay a separate fee, and we'll even ship them to you for free. Atomic Beam USA is just $19.99. Order now.
Call 1-800-638-2619 to get your Atomic Beam USA. Call now or go to atomicbeam.com. So call 1-800-638-2619. Deluxe version available. Order now.
James Martin. This week only, James Martin's deals of the week include new 2018 Chevy Traverse, just $166 a month, and Chevy Trax LT, only $49 a month. Each lease, just $9.99 down. Only at Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. All payments are with approved credit, plus tax and 10,000 miles per year. Traverse offers requires $22.75 due at signing. Trax offer requires $23.15 due at signing. Weekly deals in this week.
Welcome back, 9:10 a.m. Superstation. I'm Adolph Mungo, Brenda Hill.
I'm here.
Mike Nevin.
I'm on the floor.
Nevin.
But I'm here.
And, hey, Charlie, real quick. Let's go ahead. We got a ton of calls. We're trying to get to them. So we're going to...
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. Make a, I'll give you a...
go ahead. Okay,
yeah,
look,
go ahead.
Brenda, you're talking about a hockey arena. Let's make this regional. Let everybody care. When the Detroit schools needed the bailout from the debt, $600 million, right?
Right.
The state picked that up. The state being comprised of the people. Escanaba, Manistee, Livonia, Detroit, we all pitched in.
Right.
At the same time, as you're adding the interest on that loan, that's about what we borrowed for a hockey arena, which we don't get any revenue from.
That's right.
So everybody pays. Everybody pays. If you have to see that we're a community of people all together.
But you know,
right? Whether you want to be part of it or not, you are. Mr. Schutte, you called in. That's the facts.
That's the facts.
We want police. We want fire.
He's listening.
Look, forget about 2019 midterm elections, 2020. Think about 2030, 2040, your children, your grandchildren.
People not thinking.
Can a bubble like this last?
They're not thinking about it. Charlie, I'm gonna have to let you come on the show and give you an hour or two. You know.
Yes.
Well, I'll come on, but you better stop playing that gospel music because God's gonna send a bolt of lightning down into there.
Well, thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Charlie LaDuff, award-winning. Probably one of the only few journalists I can count them on my finger that's in Detroit that's not scared to
I think he might
tackle.
be Superman today. I called for him and he showed up.
I never heard.
Another 911 call.
This is Engine 39 responding.
And before you go on there, all the folks that's on that's holding, we're gonna get to the calls, and we're gonna get the people's input.
Yes.
Go ahead.
This is Engine 39.
Engine 39 respond to code 2 still alarm 1673 Clint Court. 1673 Clint Court between Woodrow Wilson and Rosa Parks Boulevard. It's reported as brush on fire in 39.
That was a woman on fire. That was a body on fire that the driver went by, couldn't really distinguish whether it was a body or not, and so it looked like a code 2. No lights, no sirens. Now, how do you think that family feels knowing that body was even further burned, whether the person was gone or not?
We all heard this. This was on the news that this body was burning.
Now, that's the third dead person. And we've had many, many more.
Okay.
Many, many more. But we can move on. I believe
we have the young lady on the line.
Mrs. Sandra Bailey, and her address is, well, we're not going to mention her address.
No, don't mention that.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Miss Bailey?
Ahead. Good morning, Miss Bailey.
Good morning.
Miss Bailey, how are you?
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
So you're the one that called in
one of many.
The alarm?
Well, what happened is Miss Bailey has an automatic alarm in her house.
Okay.
And the automatic, and she pays money for that because she's concerned about smoke and fire and things of that nature. And as I mentioned earlier, commercial buildings now, by law, have to have hardwired smoke detectors, hardwired CO detectors, hardwired sprinkler systems. And she has that. She pays extra for that. The alarm company alerted our central office that there was smoke in the basement. And then our central office from that, code 2, no lights and sirens, take your time.
So what happened, Miss Bailey?
Well, I received a call and let me know that they detected an alarm going off in my house. And when I arrived there, the first truck was there. And I was very betrayed because they said I was coded as a code 2, no lights, no sirens. Freaking serious, and what it's going to take for someone to lose their life, But, yes, and now I've lost everything.
She had a beautiful home. She's by herself. She lost her husband 6 years ago. This is a woman, a hardworking woman, a regular resident like my mom in the city of Detroit. That pays taxes, that knows that when you get 911, and has gone the further step to have a hardwired ADT system in her house that automatically alerts central office when something goes on.
$57 a month.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? The mayor sounds like Nero. As Rome is burning, him and Eric Jones is playing a fiddle.
Well, it goes back to
something.
Where's the money, and where's it going, and whose pocket it's going into, and also manipulating the numbers, because as we know, Craig last year said that the FBI was wrong when they quoted the numbers, and the information comes from Detroit. We also paid for a $9 million piece of software where the numbers came up wrong. We could have hired a couple of women with a pencil to
Brenda,
mark down
it's
what's
really
going
not
on.
about the numbers right now. It's about somebody's house.
Well, that's the bottom line.
Yes.
But because they've decided the numbers and the reports and stealing dollars from our people or misappropriating dollars from our people are more important than the lives and property of citizens, the very citizens that pay that money through their
Ms.
taxes.
Bailey, I hope you have an attorney. I hope you have an attorney.
This should be a class action lawsuit.
There's no question about it.
ACLU should definitely start it, but we have organizations in this city should be on top of that. But every citizen in this city should not be sitting back waiting for their turn, because it's coming.
President of the International said, this is the most ridiculous
situation
in the United States right now, and if anyone in politics, you don't need to be a politician, a legislator. How about anyone with some common sense? If you support this, you are mentally unbalanced, and you need to get your freaking head examined.
That's right.
This is ridiculous.
You know what? You don't need to be a firefighter to know what's important or not. If it's a fire, whether it's an Easter basket on fire, into a tragedy.
Anything.
Miss Bailey.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, are you able to continue to live in your house, or you done had to relocate?
No. Living from place to place.
She had serious smoke damage. She had.
This is a quality of life
What happened is
issue.
it was a back room, a bedroom. I believe the firefighters thought it was probably an overloaded plug or an old plug.
It happens.
And it happens. Plugs get old, they get brittle.
That's right.
And they take off. It was an accident.
Yes.
Now her whole house is screwed up.
One saving grace, she wasn't
there.
asleep.
Yes.
Right.
And that, the bottom line is she would never woke up.
Right.
Probably not, because that smoke will get you like carbon monoxide.
That's absolutely right.
And then it would have been a cold fire alarm, because they would have came there a week later.
Right. And that has happened. That has happened.
So you have Mrs. Bailey's number, right?
Yeah, I've been in contact with Mrs. Bailey, and we're going to continue. The firefighters.
Thank you so much, Miss Bailey, for telling your story.
The firefighters are so heartbroken, and like I said, this one hit us hard because Miss Bailey was there, and she's standing there watching us, going, "I've done everything right. What did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this?"
Living in Detroit, that's what happened. Let's go to the people, because we're gonna have people online. Let's go to John on line 5. John, good morning, John. Hello, John. Okay, let's go to Mark. Line 3. Okay. Carol. Hello? Hello? Okay, we're having some technical issues. Anyway, this is unbelievable. We had someone. Question is, are you afraid for your personal safety, Mike, speaking out so strongly against what will be perceived as a corrupt administration? Are you worried?
Well, that's a hell of a question. I was born in 1964 in the city of Detroit, and Martin Luther King. Went to a Catholic school. Raised by the church, and I understand as an outspoken leader of the working men and women what the inherent dangers are. I've carried breathless firefighters to waiting EMS rigs, and I've tried in vain to help people that couldn't make it through their emergencies. I clearly understand, as do my brothers and sisters on the front line out there on the streets, what is expected of me and what could happen to me. And I'm going to keep shooting straight, and I'm not going to back down. I understand what happens to people that speak out, and I expect it. And you know what? I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. I run into burning buildings for a living. And I'm
Yes.
certainly not afraid of suits and ties.
There you go. There you go. But it must be done. Somebody has to have the courage to do it.
Smoke and fire don't discriminate, neither do the firefighters and EMS.
There you go.
Well, you know, people are concerned. You know, I asked
But I got
Charlie
your back.
Duff the same question. You know, Charlie is writing all these hard-hitting articles
And
for
they came
Deadline
after him.
Detroit.
He lost his job because of that.
You know, so
They tried to bankrupt him, yeah.
So the bottom line is that you're going to continue to speak out, etc. We're gonna go back to the phones.
The firefighters took an oath of obligation to protect and serve the public. We swore when we received our badge that we would protect the public, and that goes beyond running into burning buildings, getting there for the cardiac arrest. I believe that this is just as important to let the public know exactly how we're responding to them. And this is serious. And you know what? It is about money. It's about manipulation of data.
Yes.
This is a sham.
Okay, we got we're gonna go back to the phones. Michelle, good morning.
Well, good morning. How are you? I think the mayor has switched place with Michigan. Seems like Miss Michigan could talk on public safety issues. The mayor just cuts the ribbon.
That's the one who said there was no water in Flint for our children.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Exactly. And the mayor cuts the ribbon. That's what Miss Michigan and Miss America does.
Are you concerned about this new policy?
Yes, I am. And the thing with the bike lane, they have one that crosses the kind of overpass over 94.
Yes.
And it is very dangerous because you have all those large trucks from Chrysler and from PBS Chemical crossing over there.
Right.
And if one of those trucks or a car breaks down, there's really no way
through there too.
Well, we in a lot of trouble. I'm gonna tell you. Well, and Michelle, thanks for the call. We're gonna go to Jackie on line 2. Jackie.
Good morning. I'm enjoying your program. I have one question to ask quickly.
Go ahead.
The last gentleman that was on said that they allocated money to the city of Detroit to for help as far as fires and training, and it was denied.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, did they give a reason why they didn't want the money?
Mismanagement.
Now, what
they
would
can't
you
get
like?
listen, they can't
what
get
would
it.
you like citizens to do?
They can't get.
You need to go down to these city council meetings, and you need to raise a ruckus.
Right now, our issues, how we respond to you. We'll handle the training issues later. It's ego, it's narcissism, it's they're not working collaborative with the members in the field doing a job, and everybody wants to put their fingerprint on their appointed position. And look what I did this, and it ain't about you. You're in public service to protect the citizens. Okay, this isn't about awards and trophies. It's about doing your frickin' job the right way.
But the citizens have to fight for their
Jackie.
own lives. There's a police commissioners meeting on Thursdays at 3 o'clock at DPT headquarters. Every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, the city council meeting down at Coleman and Young building. Call your congressman and your
meanwhile,
reps.
Call the mayor's
and the band plays
And the
on.
band,
Call
wait,
the
the
mayor's
mayor's
plays
office
on.
is 313-224-3200. Call there all day, every day. I mean, we have to rise up and take our city back. We were promised through this bankruptcy that this particular problem would never happen again, and they have created this problem.
Yep.
This is not a man-made citizen problem. This is not even a money problem, except that they're misappropriating the funds. This is a policy and procedural problem that's made at the highest levels of Detroit, the mayor's office, Mike Duggan, and the police chief, Eric Jones, those who voted for these people, those who stand by these people, those people.
We got somebody on the line. I guess this is a who's who of Detroit
It's my brother's birthday
firefighters.
today.
And listen, happy birthday.
It's your birthday.
We got Greg Love. He was the executive deputy fire commissioner, city of Detroit, deputy commissioner, field operations, Buffalo Fire Department, fire chief in Jackson, Michigan, I can go on and on and on. And Commissioner Love, how you doing?
I am doing fine this morning. Can you hear me?
Well, we can hear you loud and clear.
That's right.
We've been talking about this crazy new policy that the mayor of Detroit and his fire commissioner have implemented. Code 1, Code 2. In other words, take your time. They don't mind dying, you know.
Yeah, right. Citizens dying. They don't care about you.
Well, let me see if I can bring a little professional expertise to the conversation.
Go ahead.
I certainly understand the coding of runs. Our EMS has been coding runs for a number of years, since 1972 exactly. But it's not for the reason that these individuals are coding the runs today. Now, this particular policy took effect. I happen to know this for a fact because I helped write the policy. And the policy for Go Easy was meant to allow the first arriving company, the company officer that is, to get to the scene and determine what they have. They, as the professionals, can make the phone call via radio back to fire dispatch or 911 dispatch and tell them for the other folks to go easy. It was not in that particular day and age to stop just accidents. Well, let me bring a couple other little points about this to the table. Number one, in 1998, there were no bike lanes along East Jefferson. Jefferson was a 7-lane thoroughfare.
Mm-hmm.
Today it is a 4-lane thoroughfare.
Unbelievable.
If there is a major fire, a major emergency, a code, as they say, code 1, heart attack, code 2, bushes on fire, you don't know that until you get there.
Mm-hmm.
The person's, I want to say a couple other little things from a professional standpoint. When you have a subject matter expert who can talk about the specifics of an issue, when you see emotions as high as they are on both sides of this issue, sometimes the truth gets lost in the middle.
What emotion do you see on the other side?
The emotions I see on there's some emotion there because they were perturbed that the firefighters had the nerve to question them.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
So and that raises emotion. And first of all, Christine Ferretti wrote an article September 11th.
Yes.
Now, that article talked about a couple of things. Number one, she indicated that John Roach, the mayor's spokesperson, made a comment, and she quoted him, and that is to say that this was implemented, the policy that is, at the departmental level. That means that the fire commissioner made the determination. Now, if you know our mayor doesn't allow anything to be implemented without his fingerprints being on it.
No, he micromanages.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he probably knew about that. But as a professional all over this country, I've never seen a policy that was implemented that couldn't be reversed.
Right.
This was implemented too early. Let me tell you why. Training of probably 150-plus drivers was not done correctly. Training of 240 company officers was not done correctly. Training in terms of PSAs to the public of the city of Detroit, those who visit, those who live, those who work and play in the city, was not done. How can you implement a policy without training? Now, when you look at the dollars that you guys are talking about that went elsewhere and not into the training of the Detroit Fire Department and the firefighters, the men and women of the department deserve more than just a chief, 2 captains, and 4 officers at the training academy and a handful of adjunct instructors. You can't train 800 people with 6 or 7 people.
Bingo.
And the last thing that I will say about the policy and what was written in Christine Ferretti's article, she compared it with the city of Phoenix.
Let me ask you this,
now,
Commissioner. Let me ask you this, because we going up against a time line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this policy good or bad?
It's a bad policy.
Yes.
Okay. There's
it's
no
a
question.
Bad policy.
Thank you, sir.
Rolls back, and everybody brought to the table everyone brought to the table, particularly.
There's no question about it. Hey, thanks for calling in. I just want to say you used to be the fire chief out in Royal Oak Township. Am I correct?
I did. I was. That's where I got my start at.
Yeah, I grew up out there. You know, unfortunately, they don't have a fire department anymore.
I just want to correct myself. I was told that I said 3,200. I said 3,200. The mayor's office is 313-224-3400. 3,400. 224-3400. Everybody should be calling until they get someone on the line down there.
I have another quick one here. You know, we talk about today's day and age and how the landscape of life has changed. Here's a suspicious package outside of Little Caesars Arena. Code 2.
Special, Chief 1, Engine 1, Hazmat 1, Ladder 20, Squad 2, Woodward and Henry at the Little Caesars Arena. You're staging a block away for Detroit Police. Chief Central Office advised of your staging location. Chief 1, Engine 1, Hazmat 1, Ladder 20, Squad 2. You're responding code 2.
Code 2.
For the arena?
For the arena. No lights, no sirens. Take your time. Suspicious package.
These are
crowd full of people.
Calls.
Absolutely.
And they can blow up the arena.
They could blow up people.
This is...
You got that right.
That is unbelievable. Mike, why don't... you know what? 2 hours... is not enough time to talk about this issue. What about a town hall meeting, a community meeting where people need to come out and vent their stuff? Tell us.
Well, we are doing a press conference or a 911. The Detroit firefighters are dialing 911 to the public right now. That's why we're here. We are the firemen and the EMS divisions, and that when I say firemen, I mean all divisions: fire marshal's division, central office, community relations. I don't want to miss anyone. FMD, everybody, arson. We are dialing 911 to the public right now. We're going to do a public announcement Tuesday, October 2nd, Tuesday at 19930 Ardmore Street. 11 a.m. And we're going to let the public know, and we're going to do a press release Monday. We're going to let the media know. Hopefully, some of the people in the media are listening. I'd like to see our local television media there. This won't be a ribbon cutting, so I don't know if we're going to get the attention.
Well, it's not going to be a bed and breakfast.
It's not going to be a bed and breakfast. That there won't. You know, maybe if we put a ribbon out there and we cut the ribbon, that maybe we'll get some more response.
Well, no question. Well, this is an ugly situation.
By the way, I did ask Mayor Duggan if he'd come on the show with me today.
Oh, well, Duggan's not coming. Not coming on the show, near the show. He's not calling in. He's not saying anything. But you know what? He's going to have to answer to the people. Listen, just like he had to answer to the people when they asked about the lead in the water in the school districts. He doesn't say anything when it comes to the murder of 5-year-olds, senior citizens, burning bodies. It seems like we have 2 or 3 burning bodies a week.
At least.
Mike?
Well, we know that homicide and crime is covered up by arson. That's the old famous trick. We also know that there's people that are squatting in these homes, and we've less fortunate, and some homes may not look occupied.
I always say before they tear down some of these houses,
they
need to go and look in it because people are dumping bodies in there.
Of course, I've seen it.
Young girls. We got
Listen,
so many missing.
In fact,
young
there
girls.
was a house on the west side that they found 2 bodies at 2 different times over there. You remember the girl that went missing at the Benihana, and the gentleman that went missing from Southfield? They were found in the same house 2 different times.
Well, there's another point that I think is really important to this, and the fact that the micromanaging of our central office, that's understaffed. We're supposed to have 6 people there. They're working with 4, and one's a trainee. This has also confused central office as well. They don't even know. I'd like to play one quick central office tape where they don't even know how to.
Before you play it, I want to ask this question.
Yes, sir.
They renovating the old Packer plant. Can y'all fight a fire out there?
We have orders not to go in anymore. We have strict orders not to go in that building. It's that bad.
This is policy and procedure. I mean, everybody, I'm going to call some names, need to be at this press conference. We need Charles Williams from NAN. We need David Bullock from Change Agent Consortium. We need everybody. We need the people on the Charter Commission. This is a charter issue as well. We need all the community organizers. We need Keith Williams from the Michigan Democratic Black Caucus, B. Ward from the Legislative Black Caucus. I mean, these are the people who never show up or hardly ever show up, need to show there and say that this is wrong from the highest levels of this government. This is a murder. This is a death warrant to many of our people, a death warrant.
Well, one thing I think is important is that it's so confusing right now because there was no training.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what a code is.
You see?
And we've got AutoWeed with Highland Park and Hamtramck. They don't know what the hell this is.
That's right.
Code what?
Right.
And it's confusing.
Do they think this?
So there's even no training.
Do they think this is Dragnet?
They think it's Chicago Fire on
You
TV.
see?
Right. That's right.
And you got people down there that are more worried about what they're going to have on their sandwich than they are what they're supposed to be doing.
There was no training to tell the workers that this was being implemented.
Here's something that's going to happen.
Go ahead.
I expect
we're about to run out.
I expect some fallout. I expect them to go after some of our members. I expect them to charge some of our members. But I'm going to say it right here that our members are confused. This is a absolutely goofball policy. I'm going to play central office dispatch where they don't even know how to dispatch what's going on.
Go ahead.
59 response of code 2 medical.
Code 2 medical.
Code 2 still alarm.
Code 2 still.
Code 1 still alarm. Engine 59 18297 false. 18297 false between Curtis and Pickford. This report is a vehicle smoking.
So that went out 3 different codes. That went out code 2, code 1, still code 2. So they're doing this. They're dispatching. We get tickets in the firehouse that say priority 2. The guys get the ticket. They're putting their gear on to respond. They're getting in the rig. Then they're calling it on the radio. Well, now it's a 1. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's a 2. Now it's a still. Now it's a. Nobody knows. Listen. Everybody down there is wearing 2 left shoes, and it ain't working.
Well, you know what, Mike, and you might become public safety. You know, they merged the police and the fire. And so you might be carrying a gun, and then there's a fire. You go into your trunk of your car and you change into your fire uniform.
And that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to change out of their fire gear so they can be emergency.
I'm gonna lay another. I'm gonna lay another quick one.
EMT
One more, and I'm gonna see how you feel about this one. Here we go.
Code 2 Special Agent 29 Squad 4 1000 Scotton. 1000 Scott, between West Lafayette and Fairbanks, at Earhart School, is 3 civilians trapped in the elevator. Engine 29.
Children at school trapped in an elevator, code 2.
So take your time.
Take your time.
People that got that's claustrophobic.
I've had cardiac
arrest. We're talking about babies at the school.
Thank you.
This is unbelievable.
Take your time.
Take your time.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Is this the mayor?
Hey, Reggie.
Is this the mayor? Is this the mayor?
This is Reggie. This is Reggie. Go ahead. One more quick comment, Reggie.
Okay, Mongo. Look, when we talk about the development in Detroit, downtown, midtown, whatever, for the train station, nobody is saying anything about an impact fee. What I'm saying, Mongo, is the Illiges should build a double house fire station. Ford Motor Company should build a double house fire station.
They're asking us for $250
Wait a minute, Brenda. Wait a minute.
Well, we don't. Go ahead. Quick.
The Gilbert should build, with all his development, he should build 2 double house fire stations. In Detroit, 139 square miles. Detroit should have 50 fire engines and at least 25 fire trucks and at least 30 EMS vehicles.
Hey, what happened to Engine 9 when Greektown took it? How about that?
Hey, Mike,
that
give me a call. You got my number.
Hey, Chief,
sure, Chief.
one quick question. What happened to the super fire station?
Hey, that's the question.
Yeah, whatever happened to that?
Where is the money? Where is the money?
What happened to the super fire station? Hey, thanks.
Reggie, are you in town?
No, I will be. Hey, Mike.
One last comment.
My last comment is this. The Detroit firefighters are working as hard as we can to protect and save. We are saving more lives than any time in the history of the city of Detroit, the fire and EMS. And we've got a motto that says that you can count on us. But we're going to change that motto, and it's going to be, when seconds count, we're minutes away.
Okay. Okay. I tell you, Adolph Mungo, Detroit Black and White, 9:10 a.m. Superstation, Brenda here.
That's right. Happy birthday, John Jr.
Okay. I'll be back next week, 10